Habemus Papam, those are the words in Latin that many Catholics all around the world are waiting to hear any day now. Of course, we have a pope, is the English translation, and at the moment we don't have a pope. We have a Pope Emeritus, which is not a regular occurrence. In fact, it's been about 600 years since we've had a Pope Emeritus. Raymond Arroyo is the New York Times bestselling author and news director and lead anchor for EWTN News, which is the Eternal Word television network, Catholic broadcast network founded right here in the United States of America by Mother Angelica. He is in the Vatican, and who better to talk to on this day?
This guy's plugged in.
When the conclave begins. What's the word on the street there, Raymond Arroyo?
Oh, Larry, the words are many. Depends on who you talk to. You know, I've been talking to these all week, and I first have to say,
Uh-oh.
I think.
Hey, Raymond.
Hey, Raymond, we're having a little trouble with your phone connection, so we're going to ask you to
or maybe walk down the street a little bit. He might be, he could like be at St. Peter's there, and there could be a interference. Raymond, are you there? Is it better?
Is this any better?
That is much better.
That's a lot better. Thank you, Raymond.
Okay, I'll do it from here. But no, I'm only a block from the Vatican, and telephones and cell connections are a little rough here in the old country. But it is an exciting time. It is a moment when so many of these cardinals from all over the world that I've spoken to, they haven't settled on a candidate. And I remember covering this in 2005, and at this point, the day they go into the Sistine Chapel to vote, you were hearing a couple of names emerge, and Ratzinger was the name you heard most often.
Right.
This time you don't have that kind of surging candidacy, if I can use that term. So this is any man's bet here. It's an open race. Right now you're hearing Cardinal Angelo Scola of Milan has a good chance. He could be a compromise candidate. He's theologically very much like Benedict XVI, yet he's regarded as a reformer. And that term is so important to these cardinals who've been witnessing epidemic failures and gaffes and scandals here at the Vatican, and they feel the Curia, the government, needs reform of the bureaucracy here in Rome.
Yeah. Raymond, really, just a really quick follow-up there, because I think a lot of non-Catholics might hear the word reformer and think of the Reformation, and I just want you to clarify what reform means to a Catholic, and specifically those in Rome.
Good point. Yeah, there are not those doctrinal tug-of-wars that dogged the Church, I think, for decades. That they agree on the doctrine. What this is about is reforming, meaning bringing efficiency and transparency to the bureaucracy here in Rome, to the Curia. Those are the people that serve the Pope, work here in the Vatican. And there have been a lot of gaffes over the last few years. So these cardinals, to a man, keep telling me, we need someone to clean this up. We need a sheriff here in Vatican City. So they're looking for somebody with a stronger hand than, frankly, John Paul or Benedict had. They were both one was an apostle who traveled the world, bringing his message and this message of hope everywhere he could. And then you had Benedict, who was the theologian professor. But neither of them had much focus on running the business and the government of the Vatican. So that is clearly the emphasis here. But look out for Cardinal Scola, Cardinal O'Malley, Sean O'Malley of Boston. You hear a lot of talk about him. And the other name that I keep hearing repeatedly is Cardinal Ouellet. Cardinal Marc Ouellet is a Canadian. He's from Quebec. He's a very hard worker, beloved here by all these cardinals. He's head of the Congregation for Bishops, which appoints many of the bishops all over the world. So he has a good shot, actually. If I were a betting man, that's probably who I'd put my money on. But, once they get in the Sistine Chapel,
you never know.
It's any man's race.
In the days leading up to the conclave, they have been talking about the future of the Catholic Church and where it needs to go and what the priorities should be. What has come out of that?
Well, these are long sessions where they're addressed by cardinals from all over the world, as you said, Brian. What comes of it, really, it's a listening session. And frankly, a lot of the cardinal electors I've spoken to said they find these talks a bit tedious. It feels like a university lecture to them. But what it affords them is the opportunity to watch up close the man who might be Pope, candidates they're considering. But the real work of this conclave took place over dinners, in private meetings, and in gatherings all over this city before they ever go into the Sistine Chapel.
And I understand that once they enter the Sistine Chapel, security is like at the highest level ever.
You got it.
They don't want any word leaking out.
No, they're jamming devices all over Vatican City. They lock 30 doors between the Sistine Chapel and the outside world, and these men are truly sequestered away. And you see, I mean, for any of us who've been on a jury, you know how that feels when you're kind of locked away, and you're forced to make a decision. That's what's going to happen here. And day after day, it will no doubt change the psychology and the character of some of these men. It brings both fears and hopes to the fore. It changes them. And it's really, what happens now, it's like a retreat, a prayerful retreat with voting. They're locked in the Sistine Chapel, they pray, and they vote 4 times a day, twice in the morning, twice in the afternoon. But it's not like going, down to your polling place and casting a vote. They have to individually fold the ballot twice, write the name of the man they consider or want to be Pope. They walk up to the altar facing Michelangelo's Last Judgment. And on that fresco, by the way, there are a number of cardinals being dragged into hell, just to clarify. Okay? And they're looking at this, and then they swear an oath to God that this is the man that they wish to be Pope, and they're doing this with no coercion or any ulterior motive. They place their vote in the urn, and this goes on for all 115 electors. One at a time they vote. It's very solemn. It's very weighty. And they feel the pressure of 1 billion Catholics outside the walls of this place, waiting for their decision.
Raymond Arroyo joins us. He's the news director and lead anchor at EWTN. He's at the Vatican right now. And given the fact that you're saying it's wide open, there's no clear-cut candidate, we wouldn't ask you to make a prediction. But what about this as a prediction? Not the person, but the time. How long do you think this is going to take, considering Holy Week is next week?
Well, I'm going to defer to Cardinal Timothy Dolan, who wrote his priest today, and I just saw the letter. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to talk about this, but I saw it. It was given more than I had seen the letter. He is predicting that this will go on till Thursday. I think that's not a bad guess. Let me tell you, if it goes much beyond that, if the voting goes till Friday, then expect it to roll into next week, because what happens is, after 3 days of balloting, okay, there's a vote tonight. They'll do one vote when they go into the Sistine Chapel. Okay, they go in today. I'm going to be covering that live at 2 p.m. Eastern. I think it's 2 p.m. Oh, no, 11 a.m. Eastern, your time, Eastern time. We're going to be covering that live, the procession of the cardinals into the Sistine Chapel. They'll vote at night, okay, one vote. All that does is kind of give them a sense of the body. And then from there, they figure out where they're going to go. It's a very interesting process, but as I said, after 3 days of voting, they have to take a day of rest and then vote again. So
and that's why it might go into next week. All right,
Sunday.
Raymond, we got to wrap it, but quickly if you can. How do they make the black smoke versus white smoke? We've always wondered.
It's a chemical. It's a chemical they use.
All right.
And the ballots are burned in one stove, the chemicals in the other. And that goes up and produces the black or white smoke.
Now we know. Raymond Arroyo, we will be watching you. Have a good time in Rome.
Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you soon. See you soon.